Welcome back to the Sex Mechanic Podcast. All my sexy lovers, welcome back. It has been some weeks. Thanks for sticking in there with me as I recovered from surgery I had this past week and a half. And I'm still in the process of recovering, but I felt like, I need to get back because I haven't talked about stuff in too long. So I'm back. And here bringing you another episode number 10 of the Sex Mechanic Podcast. I am your host, the Sex Mechanic, aka Gene Benoit, aka Mr. Born to Explore, aka Confident Creator, aka I Did It My Way. And today we are switching stuff up just a little bit, but it's mostly the same. For one, I want to do a I want to do a part in the podcast where I kind of give a rant, or I rant and or vent about some stuff, right? So it's still around the topic of sex, dating, and situationships, but today I want to rant about movies and TV shows, right? I can't stand these TV shows and movies that tell you that it's okay to start a relationship off with a lie, right? You could start a situation with somebody based on a total lie. You could show up as somebody totally different from who you actually are and, get somebody to like you. You guys fall into a serious situation and then eventually the truth comes out, but it's okay. Even though you didn't admit to the truth, you got caught in the truth, or you got caught in the lie. You didn't admit to the lie. It's okay because by the end of the story, everyone still ends up together. Everything still ends up being okay, and the couple in the movie or in the show usually rides off into the sunset or some bullshit like that. But it's really annoying. Like, I was watching that the other day, and I was just like, this is so stupid. Because if you're basing a relationship off of a weak foundation to begin with, I don't think you're going to go far. I mean, in real life, these are movies, of course, these are shows, but I feel like they're teaching the wrong kind of lessons in terms of how we should be looking at relationships. It kind of teaches that, you know, you should kind of show up in a different way than you actually are. And that's how you get someone. That's how you get someone to like you, by showing up in a totally different light than who you genuinely are. And obviously, that's not the way to go. And in real life, let me tell you something too. If you try some shit like that, it might not turn out like the movie. Okay. You might end up in a bad situation. Um, at the very least, you'll probably end up not getting the guy or the girl that you lied to, because nobody likes being lied to. So, just a word of advice and caution for those of you who love these rom-coms or these little, romantic love movies or whatever, or stories. Shit don't really work like that. So just be careful. Lead with the truth, lead with sincerity, and I think you'll go a lot further. All right. So that's my little rant about that today. But I had to get that out. But yeah, welcome back, y'all. As you can see, I'm standing. Usually I'm sitting down, but I'm still recovering, like I said. So I'm trying something different. I'm gonna stand today and see how that goes. I probably won't go as long as I usually do because I'm standing, but it's okay. We'll still have a quality podcast tonight. I'm also starting at a different time as well because I told you I'm going to be trying different times and days and seeing what works, and where the engagement is, and not only that, what works for my schedule also. By the way, I got some juice here that I made. I don't know many people that could fuck with me on the juice level. Like, I be putting these fruit juices together and they taste great. I mean, they taste fantastic. And then I like to have some level of texture to it. So when I'm drinking, it's not all liquid. I have some pieces of like small pieces of fruit to kind of chew on. So that's how I like to do it. But anybody want to challenge me on the juice tip? I just got a Ninja. I had a NutriBullet, but now I have a Ninja, and man, that thing works a lot more efficiently. Like it's way more efficient. I don't know if it's the blades or the whole setup of it, but it works nicely, and I think I'm gonna like it. So today we're talking about. I'm giving you an update on my sexless journey, how I'm doing, how I'm faring, um, whether I'm making it or not. And basically, the way it's going right now is I'm ready to not be sexless anymore. I've been ready for about 3 or 4 months now. Like I mentioned in my first podcast episode, how the situation just has to be right. Like I'm not just going to jump into any kind of situation. The situation has to be ideal, and it definitely has to be one that's where there's a mutual understanding of kind of like the temporary nature of it. That's what's important. So, with that being said, I have a feeling that I'm on the cusp. I have a feeling that sex is over the horizon. I have a feeling that booty is around the corner. I have kind of like a sixth sense about that, kind of the same way I have a sixth sense about finding partners that I know will be uh will be sexually pleasing. I could just tell from the first conversation. But I feel like it's close. So, um, some things might be in the works with a past lover, possibly. We'll see. I got a trip that I'm taking to Florida this week. And if our schedules align, then we'll connect. If not, then we won't. Either way, it's not a big deal. But even if that doesn't come into fruition, I still have a feeling that it's really close. And especially with it being summertime too, you got the sundresses out, you got the shorts, you got all the skin just showing, shoulders, thighs. Um, you see the navels and everything showing. It's it's coming close to that time. It's really hard for anybody to be like, yeah, I don't want to do anything when women are looking, you know, just awesome out here. Not out here specifically, but just anywhere I go. Even when I travel to Florida, that's always mm, mm, that's always a beautiful thing. Always a great experience. But we'll see when it happens. I don't know, but how I've been managing is um obviously masturbation. I mean, there's no shame in masturbation, y'all. Like pleasing yourself shouldn't be something that you shy away from. It shouldn't be something that you feel embarrassed about. I mean, because why? It's yours. Like you could do whatever you want with it. So have fun with yourself if that's the route, that's available. Um, invest in toys if you don't have some already and enjoy yourself that way. Learn more about yourself and your body and how you operate and kind of your physiology and learn more about your anatomy and what works for you and what doesn't. Those are important things. So when you do have a partner with you, it's a lot smoother, it's a lot easier. There's a lot more comfort within yourself in that situation. So yeah, definitely don't shy away from having fun with yourself because why not? Why not? There's no real good reason that you would avoid having fun by yourself with yourself. So keep that in mind. But I've been doing that from time to time, but also just a lot of self-reflection and introspection. That's really been another key. Introspection is really big for me, whether I'm talking to somebody or dealing with somebody or not. I tend to really enjoy being inside of my head and going inside of myself and figuring out what's going on with me in terms of emotionally or physically, mentally, making sure that I'm checking in with myself and making sure that I'm good at all times. And if I'm not, I like to try to find out why I'm not and what's causing any kind of issues. So there's been a lot of that, a lot of writing in my journal, a lot of me working on some other projects that, I'll talk about more on the channel at a later time. But yeah, just a lot of focus on self. That's the one thing that you really benefit from when you're not having sex frequently, when you don't have a regular partner, and when it's not like always prevalent on your mind. Because when you're in a place where you want to have sex all the time, getting to sex becomes a dominating thought in your mind, at least for guys. And probably not the same for women because it's so easily accessible for you, or it's more easily accessible for you. So if you do feel like you want it, you can probably just make a call or two and make it happen. For a guy, typically we have to go acquire it. Okay, so we have to, you know, go out and seek it, and then typically close the deal in order for that to happen, or else it's not going to happen for us. So it's a little bit different, but that can also dominate our thoughts if that's where we're at. Like if that's what we want, then every time we go somewhere, every time we do something, the thought is, how can I turn this into pussy? Basically. That's pretty much what it becomes. I mean, it really becomes a yeah, just a dominating thought. So it's nice to not have to think about that and to be able to just focus on self and do things better in areas that I want to do things better. All right. So again, overall, it's been a good experience. It's been positive. If it doesn't happen, sooner than later, I think I'll be fine, to be honest. I just know that I'm a very sexually energetic individual. And the way I'm feeling right now, all I'm gonna say is the energy between me and whoever is first or next, it's gonna be crazy. That's all I gotta say. Because of where I'm at, um, it's gonna be quite the experience, quite an explosion of pleasure for both people. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. We'll see what happens this week and the weeks to come, and if anything changes with that. But for now, I'm still going strong, and we'll see how long this intercourseless life continues. I can't really say sexless, right? Because I had a little bit of a taste of something, maybe about 6 months ago, 6, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, something like that. So I can't say that I've been totally sexless, but definitely haven't experienced intercourse in over a year and 7 months. Is it a year and 8 months? Since December 2019. So a year and 8 months now. Yeah. But speaking of sex, I have another question. I have a question for you all, right? And then obviously I'll give you my answer to it as well. But how far is too far for sex? Like how far would you go for a dick appointment or for a piece of pussy? You know what I'm saying? Like how far distance wise would you travel to get to that? Is there a distance that's too far? I mean, if you were chatting with somebody online or something and they just happen to be in like Japan and you're in the US, is that too far? If it is, why? Like, what's your reasoning behind that? Is there a limit? Now, for me, I don't feel like there's a limit, and let me tell you why. I would never go to any location. Let me not say never. I would. Okay, so I haven't gone to any location just for the sex, and then that's it. And let me explain that. So if I go somewhere, right, sex might be on the table, like, but it's not guaranteed. So it's not like I'm going there thinking that I have to get sex because that's the mission of this trip. Now, I do understand when I am interacting with somebody and when we're talking about different things, if that's the direction it could go. However, there's no guarantee that it's going to go there. And let me tell you right now, if you ever feel like you're traveling somewhere for guaranteed sex, get that out your head right now because nobody owes you anything just because you made that trip. Like, nobody owes you shit. You might make that trip and that person might feel like not really feeling the whole sex vibe for whatever reason. I mean, they might not, the vibe might not be there. They might have got on their period or something. Like, you have no idea what can happen. So don't go with the idea that sex has to happen or this trip is a failure. So one of the keys to that is to visit somewhere, even if there is somebody there that and that you would like to be intimate with sexually. Visit somewhere that you can also explore on your own. And that's not just for the sex thing, right? Sometimes in person, the vibe is not the same as over the phone or online or whatever the case may be. And so when you guys get in person, you find out that you don't really like each other like that for whatever reason. So that means you should have a place to stay that's not dependent on that other person. That's for one. And you should also put yourself in a position where you're in a place and you've at least looked at some of the things you might want to do around the city or around the town outside of having sex. Because if sex is the only thing on your agenda and sex doesn't happen, your feelings are going to be hurt. I'm telling you. And you don't want to be in that position. Like, who wants to get on a plane, travel somewhere, let's say travel, 4 or 5 hours or more somewhere, get to the airport, get picked up, let's say by this person, and just to find out that for whatever reason that it's just not going to happen. But that's all you had in your mind, like, it's not going to feel good. So don't go in feeling like there's a guaranteed sexual experience at the end of the rainbow for you, because it might not be. All right. Now, I asked what is too far, or how far is too far. For me, there's no distance that's too far, because like I just said, I'm not going with the intention of only having sex. Sex obviously is a big motivator, but I enjoy travel and I enjoy seeing new places. And so if I go somewhere, I'm for sure going to have in my mind that if sex doesn't happen, I got other stuff I could do. I got other places I could go around town. I definitely have some places that I want to eat at. And if I don't have any in mind, I could find it online. I won't have a problem because I enjoy travel. So maybe if the same comes up for you, if you are going to visit somebody for sex, um just try to visit them in a place that's interesting. Maybe meet up at a mutual place if you can, somewhere in the middle, that you can actually do something outside of the sexual experience if it doesn't go down. And even if it does go down, let's say it goes down and it's trash. Like, the energy is not compatible between the two of you, or it's just not, it's just didn't work, like it just didn't, you guys didn't gel the way you thought you would sexually. if that's the case, you also don't want to just be stuck with this person for like a weekend or something like that if that was the vibe, you know? So definitely set yourself up to have a backup plan. And if it's the first time, definitely get your own what do you call it? Like arrange your own boarding situation. You know, like get yourself situated somewhere outside of that person's space. So if things don't work out, you have a place to sleep and you're not, scrambling for somewhere to stay or stuck staying with somebody who you don't really fuck with. All right. So what's too far? I said there's no distance for me. I feel like it could be, I live in California. If I have to travel or if the option is to travel to Russia, for example, or Antarctica, I'll go because I could see around those places too. Russia, I don't know. Russia, the relationship would have to be strong. Like it'd have to be a real good connection. And even though sex wouldn't have to be guaranteed, I'd rather that, I I'd rather the sex be more on the table than not on the table. Let's see. We have a comment by T Petite. What's up, T? Won't be going till won't be going to another continent halfway. So you're saying like meet halfway if the other person's on another continent? I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Maybe not in the middle, okay? Fine. Maybe not in the middle, but meet somewhere mutual that both of you can go and enjoy. Let's say, all right, so let's use the Russia example, right? Let's say the person lives in Russia, I live in the States. Let's meet up in Portugal. You know what I'm saying? Like, or in Spain. Yeah, I still got to cross the water, but if shit doesn't work out with us, oh, I'm definitely gonna enjoy myself around Spain and Portugal. Like, in fact, you know, there will be no hesitation if things don't work out for me to just be like, all right, cool. We tried and enjoy myself either way. Thank you for the comments. Spain is nice. I agree. Spain would be a nice place to meet up with somebody. Let me give you guys some examples of places I've visited and the distances I've gone. I haven't gone that far, honestly. Like, I don't know. I guess you guys will be the judge. Whoever is watching this will be the judge of that. But the furthest plane ride I've had is 6 hours, 5.5 hours. So from California to Florida, which is a trip that I make pretty regularly. And I've spoken about this partner I had, a couple years ago or whatever, who I was flying back and forth and seeing when I was down there. But again, it was a situation where I was going to see family. I wasn't going for that. I was going because that's where my family lives. That's where I'm from. So to go to Florida is kind of like a regular thing for me. So it just happened. It just happened that she was also in Florida. Now, I'll say this. If she was in Miami, that would be you know, an easy trip, 5, 6 hours, and then just maybe a 15 to 30-minute drive. She actually lived in Palm Beach. So it was like I would get, and I'm gonna give you an example. I would fly into town, right? I would get into town, let's say around 6 p.m. And I would then get in a car and drive to her another hour, 5 hour, 10 minutes to Palm Beach. And this usually when it happened was like, or at least the last few times when it happened, it was after a full night's shift. Like I left the morning after my Friday shift. So not a lot of rest, but something about the motivation of sex is able to give me that extra boost of energy. Like if I know I'm about to get in something and I'm about to put it down and we're about to have a great time together, I just get I don't know, I get an extra boost of energy from somewhere. So I was able to make that drive and then also make the drive back that same night after we were done. So I can't tell you where that energy came from, but I'm glad I had it. But that's probably, I wouldn't say that's the furthest distance wise. I have crossed the border for sex, not necessarily for sex, but for a person that I've known across the border. Up north to Canada, I've gone to Montreal, San Francisco to Montreal, and that was probably like 4 to 5 hours or something like that too. I've gone, I've driven from Idaho to Vancouver, Canada, across the border by car. Also, sex wasn't guaranteed, but it also wasn't not on the table. So, and Vancouver was a place that I've wanted to see for a while anyway. So it just, I just happen to know people in uh in places that people actually want to be, me included. So it just turns out well. And luckily sex happened in those situations in all of them. If they didn't, I still would have had a good time either way. But yeah, that's those are the distances I've traveled. So yeah, cross state lines. Honestly, across state lines for me is nothing. I've done that at least probably three times. Also, when I was working in Virginia, I drove down to Tennessee. I think it was like what city is that where Tennessee and Virginia share the same city? I think it's like Blue. No, it's not Blueville. I don't know. It's some city. Wherever NASCAR does races in Tennessee, it was that same city. And it was like a 4-hour drive as well. Damn, now that I think about it, from Idaho to Vancouver wasn't too bad. It was like 4 or 5 hours total. Because I stopped in Seattle, slept in Seattle one night, and then the next night is when I went, or the next day is when I went to Vancouver, and I think that's like another 2-hour drive from Seattle. So it wasn't that long. No, not that long at all. So I don't mind traveling for it. That's nothing for me because again, I'm gonna enjoy myself regardless. No matter where I end up, I'm gonna make the most of it. But I want to hear from y'all. What is the furthest that you feel like is acceptable for a sex appointment? Like, what's like, okay, and this is whether it's the first time or you know exactly what you're getting into and you know what you're getting as well. Because when you know what you're getting, it's your limits are probably a little bit greater than for the first time when you don't know what to expect. So I am interested to know in the comments what's the furthest you think is okay, or what's the furthest you've gone for a sex appointment. And in the meantime, I want to remind you all that the road to 1,000 subscribers begins now. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoy these conversations. Please do me the favor and hit the like button and comment and subscribe if you enjoy the content on this page. I will continue bringing you podcasts every week as I have done most of the time. And we'll keep these conversations going. And I'm excited too, because I told y'all that I would have other people on and other voices on this podcast. So I went to Seattle a couple weeks ago and was able to get a couple of my homeboys on. So that episode will be coming out as well. And I'm reaching out to everybody in my circle, everybody who knows me. If you have my number and I have your number, then consider yourself welcome to be on the podcast. All right. If you feel like there's something you want to talk about specifically, hit me up, let me know, and I'll get you on. I haven't told enough people that they're invited. I haven't wanted to go down that whole list of people that I know and let everybody know one by one, but I think I'm gonna have to because there's probably people that think I don't want them to come on, and honestly, I'd love to have them on, but I gotta have that conversation. So, all right, so no comments about distances traveled for sex appointments, which is fine. But yeah, I think this is a good point to call it a conversation. I am really happy that I was able to do this today. I went back and forth about it because, it just felt like, I guess, like riding a bike, like, yeah, you get it after you get on the bike and you start pedaling. You're like, oh, yeah, I remember how to do this. But before, there's still a little bit of nervousness and a little bit of like, do I still know how to do this? Do I know how to set this up? Is the mic in the right place? Like, are the headphones on right? Like all kind of stuff. So obviously I got it together. I got it working. But yeah, I'm really glad that you all were able to join me today. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and stay posted. I'll keep you posted on the next episode. All right. Talk to you all soon. Peace.